As of recent, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me talking about and asking about preservation techniques and a lot of techniques that I use, especially when it comes to very rusty relics. A few months ago, I found a beautiful axe head. Like most relics that we find here buried in New England, this one was no exception. It came out of the ground pretty rusty, really beat up, a lot of bubbles, and just from all the oxidation over the years of being buried, it really took a toll on this axe head. I decided that I would like to restore it, rehang it, and put it up on display for many years to come. So as you've seen in the pictures that I've posted here in this video talking about the rusty old axe head, here's the cleaned up version. Nice and restored and ready for display. I've also rehung it on a handle that I had found. I've had to cut it down to size. I've sanded it, I've stained it, and rehung that axe head, so I am now able to display it proudly up on the wall. Now this technique might not be for everybody. It's a simple do at home on your own kind of a technique that I want to share with everybody. You've been asking me for it, so I'm going to give it to you. I have the whole process set up, and what I'm about to show you is how I preserve my rusty relics from beginning to end. Stay tuned. So here's what my little workshop looks like when I'm preparing to restore these old relics that I find in the ground while I'm out metal detecting. Right off the bat, you'll notice I got my vinegar. That's your key ingredient to what I'll be doing today. You've got your steel wire brushes, and the main objective is to get your relics from looking like this to like that. So this will be step 1, step 2, step 3, and this is just a side project that I have going on, which I think some of you guys that like to go out yard sailing, pick up old tools and everything, this also works on those items as well. What I've gone and done with these rusty relics here, I've gone and knocked off all the bigger chunks of iron and rust and anything else that's sticking there. Maybe there's been some rocks that have actually rusted into the relic itself just from sitting in the ground. But essentially, step 1 is find a bowl big enough, and again, do this somewhere where you have plenty of ventilation. I don't mind the smell of vinegar, but I tell you right now, this gets pretty powerful the longer you let set, and it's pretty much that simple. And about 6 days ago, like I said, I had started this soak the same way that I had started this soak over here. As you'll see in the time-lapse video that I'm going to throw into the video right now, the vinegar really started going to work right away. You really don't have to do much. You just kind of let it sit there. And in this case, that's all I did, was let it sit there. I let time do its thing. And as you'll see, the vinegar really started to break up that rust, all of the debris, anything that was stuck to those old iron rusty relics, and you can see it bubbling away as time went on. Moving on to where I like to stop the process, pull the items out of the vinegar soak, and really start getting into there with a wire brush to see what is left, how much more of a soak I need, and how much work these relics are going to actually take. Other than the smell, as you'll see, I have these napkins and everything, including a towel handy. You're going to want that because this tends to make somewhat of a mess if you're not careful. There's a lot of splatter, but as you'll see, that rust is really starting to basically come right off there. I probably do that with my fingers. So this is a stage where you'll see me. This is about stage or day 10. I'll take the relics out. I'll run them under wire or underwater with a wire brush. And why don't we get to it? So for this stage, you don't really need a whole lot. I got my little bin of water here. I'm going to take out the old rusty relic. In this case, it's an old oxen shoe. And I'm just going to take the wire brush and really get into it. You obviously want to be careful. You don't want to be sticking yourself with those wires. Not really pleasant, especially when they break off and you get a little wire splinter. Other than the back is showing a lot more promise than the front. It's still taking some time to work this stuff off. I'm going to go ahead and set that one down. That's going to need a bit more soaking. This one actually, you can actually see just with my fingers that rust is coming off. So this one should actually clean up a little bit better than the other one did right away. So same thing, just a little elbow grease, some time. And you'll get your results that you're looking for. See what we got. And there's a difference right there already. I mean, the majority of these, I have a whole bunch of horseshoes and things that I'm preserving right now. And they all generally look like that when I first put them in the soak. So there's your comparison right now. Vinegar is just amazing at what it does to that rust. And as you'll see, I have other items that I'm restoring right now. Again, there's a lot of people that like that electrolysis, but I mean, you're looking for a good project at home, something to keep you entertained, keep you busy for a while and slow as you go. This is the way to do it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take this nail. I'll set the other ones aside. And I'll show you, it's the same thing. I mean, it can be tedious work. I mean, it's not super fun, but the end results are just amazing. I'm going to take another nail here. Start doing the same thing. And basically you're just repeating the process with everything that you have soaking. Clearly the relics will kind of dictate how fast or slow you should be going, how long you should let them soak for. Again, there's people out there that'll say electrolysis is the way to go because you don't get that pitting, you don't get all that other stuff, but for a cheap, inexpensive process and safe, you won't get zapped, this is the way to go. Next, I'm going to turn on the Dremel here. I'm going to go fast, but you do want to wear safety glasses as well because sometimes little bits will fly out and get you in the eye where you don't expect it, you don't want it to happen, but it happens. It's happened to me a few times, so safety first. But as you can see, that wire brush really starts to do its job. You got to really get into where those nails were. A lot of these nails actually just fell out in this process. Now the whole purpose of this is you don't need to keep it shiny. Some people like it darker, you know, in the grooves and whatnot. Kind of gives it a little bit of a characteristic feel. The prime example, or the main reason why you're doing this, is to get that rust off. I mean, rust is cancer to these relics. The more rust you can get off before you go ahead and seal it later on, the longer over time that relic is going to hold up for you. I'm going to continue. I'm going to work on the rest of these relics. So just have this and a couple of nails. And then I'll get to the bigger stuff and show you guys how I go about that. So now we get on to the bigger stuff. I've gone ahead and I let this soak for another couple of days. And as you can tell, it's getting a lot darker. So I'm actually going to, I'll pull out the wood carving tool here. I believe this is called an adze. I found that in the woods, and as you can see, I mean, see how that rust is just popping off of there? I mean, I literally can just wipe that with my finger. So same thing, step number one, take a steel brush to it, and right off the bat you'll see all that stuff just start popping off of there. And I can already see right down to the original metal that was used when they forged this. So you just work it around. I mean, you'll be able to tell what can come off and what can't right off the bat. Slowly but surely, you'll start revealing the metal below. Next, I'm going to pull out the lock. I'm not really sure what this is going to do to it, but I figured I'm going to give it a shot, try to preserve it the best I can, and hope for the best. So, same process. Just start working off all of that crud and everything on there. How beautiful that brass is, that lock plate. Last is this big old axe head that I have. So as you can see, let me get some more light down here. There's still some rust that's attached, some really good dark pitted spots on that axe head. The same thing with the lock. You see all that rust that's still built in there. That's pretty tough to get at. And again, I don't want to damage this by really getting in there with anything, so I'm just going to let the vinegar do its magic and come back to these in a few days. So I'll place them back into here. I'll take my vinegar. Fill it right up to the top. And now it's just a waiting game. So as a bonus, I'm just going to throw this in for those that like to go out yard sailing, find those little bargains. I think I picked up 10 of these adapter pieces for my drill, little screw bits and whatnot. I think I paid 10 cents maybe for 10 of them. They were all rusted. I'm going to throw a picture in right now. As you can see, they're fairly rusted. They don't look really great to the eyes, but they're still salvageable, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So right here are just a few that I've cleaned up. Inside here, because they're so small, you can tell, see how black they are. That's just from the rust being taken off. So I'm just going to take the Dremel here, slowly work over them, get into all the nooks and crannies, and bring them back to life. Okay, and once those are all cleaned up, they are still a little wet. Just throw them in a paper towel real quick. And as you can see, no more rust, like brand new. So I've got them in this container right here. I've got a little bit of the 3-in-1 multi-purpose oil that'll help preserve, clean, keep lubricated. Fill them up like that. Get them all nice and coated. And I'll take these out one by one and place them back where they belong, store them, and hopefully keep them rust free until I need to use them. So like you can probably tell, this episode is going to be broken into 2 videos. The first, which you have just seen, is for all of those that I thank from the bottom of my heart for the support, the comments, and the questions that first video was for you guys, to show the step-by-step process that I take while I'm trying to preserve my iron relics. For everybody else, including those that stuck around for the first video, if you're interested in seeing the remaining relics, including the lock, the other axe head, and the adze tool, all cleaned up, I'm going to try to rehang the tools as well, so I might show a little bit of that. I'm also probably going to get to the other iron relics that I have sitting away here. I'm going to let them soak for quite a few days, as you've seen, probably up to 10 days. And I will probably do them all at once. I will get a whole roundup of all these relics that I have preserved for you, both in this last video and in the future video. I'll lay them all out, I'll display them for you, and let you be the judge. So before I end this first video, I want to let you all know that I do have a Facebook page strictly for Detected Outdoors, as well as an Instagram page. See down below in the details section, I do have links to each of those channels. I also have a link to my store where I create and design t-shirts. Feel free to roam around there. If you see anything that you like, if you have anything that you would like, and just like the videos, have a suggestion for me, please let me know, and I'll do what I can to get that product out there, or to get that video out there that you guys are looking to see. Thanks again for watching. Remember to check back to see how the process is going with these relics. And until next time, happy hunting.